All right, so I'm Spencer. Recording is Wade. We decided to do a video to give the best representation of our invention. I know that for the artwork, it might not be as detailed as what I explain, but this is for all of Invention Home to help you guys understand and help get our point across on what we're trying to accomplish with this invention we call ProPitch. So basically what we have here to start out, this will be the main piece of the invention here. Basically what we have here is a ball. We want it to look like a baseball or a softball, but what this baseball is going to do is it's going to be a computer. It's going to have sensors, cameras, lasers, and I'll explain what all those functions do as we go on. But basically what's going to happen is this ball is going to twist into two halves like so. Okay, and if you notice here on the ball, don't mind the yellow tape, but basically we're going to have a piece of strong glass here on three sides of the ball: the front, top, and the back side of the ball on both pieces. And right here, the circle that you see that I drew is a camera. We have a camera on both sides. This is the front piece of the ball, and this will be the back piece. And we'll make it to where people can understand what piece belongs where. But the idea is we have this strike zone here. Now, this in our invention, we want to include our own strike zone that will automatically sync up with this ball, where we can just place this in the right location and it's going to automatically sync up to this strike zone. Now, we also wanted to make it to where if you already have something you pitch against that has a strike zone on it, to use that and not have to buy our strike zone for this invention. So the idea is that we have home plate here, and we can figure out more exact details down the line, but approximately we figure it's about 6 feet from the back of from the strike zone is where we'll place this first half of the ball. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is on this device, okay, it's gonna tell me where to locate this device according to if you have our strike zone, you'll be able to just tell you where to place this. Now, if you have a different strike zone, what you're going to do is you're gonna walk back about 6 feet, and you're gonna set it on the ground. You're gonna take a photo of the strike zone you want to pitch at, and then it's gonna bring up that photo on your phone, and you're gonna be able to draw out the strike zone. You're going to be able to trace out the strike zone so that we can lock whatever pitching strike zone that you have. We can lock it into the system. At that point, then you'll be able to place this first device 6 feet, roughly 6 feet, and center with the strike zone. And there'll be something on the top of this device to help you locate that. So you'll place this here, okay? And then what you'll do, once this one's in place and once you have your strike zone in place, this one will go halfway between the back of home plate and the pitcher's mound back here. So what you're going to do is same with this device. It's going to help you line up the device, and it's going to help you place it halfway in between home plate and the pitcher's mound. So now keep in mind, if this is on grass, we're going to have some attachments on the bottom that we can stake it into the ground so that it doesn't move. Then obviously if it's on a hard surface, you can just place it on the ground. Not a big deal. But now we have both pieces in place between the pitcher's mound and home plate. And what this device is going to allow us to do now is, with all the sensors, okay, Now we'll also have something on that first device that tells us where we need to place our pitcher's mound. If we're Little League, obviously the measurements are going to be different than high school or than high school. So what we're going to do here is we have a ball, okay, and then we have all these sensors. Now if you zoom in here, we have a sensor on the front of this ball, on the top of the ball, and on the back side of the ball. So our idea is that it's going to pick up 3 points as it passes over this ball, and it's going to pick up three points as it passes over this ball, and it's going to connect the dots so we can get a projection of how the ball's moving, and the location of the pitch as it hits the strike zone as well. That's why we have the sensors going all the way around the sides too. That way, if we're throwing a curve, we know that a curve ball might start out here, but it's going to break back in, obviously to the strike zone. So we have it to where it can pick up different measurements, basically all the way around the ball on all sides. So at this point, the idea is pretty simple. We just start pitching. Now, on our application on our phone, obviously we want to make sure kids are being smart about throwing a baseball. So we'd like to have a series of different stretches that take place before they start throwing a ball. Obviously we'll have them throw a few test pitches at half speed, just to kind of make sure that everything is reading right and all that stuff. At that point, you have a bucket of balls and you just start throwing away. Now the cool thing about this application is it's going to allow coaches and parents. For example, I live in Arizona. My family's in Utah. I work out here. But if I want to send a list of pitches to my daughter or son, that I could send them a list of pitches that they could go out, take this device, go out and pitch against anything, and I can actually pull it up after they're done, and in an animated version see what their balls are doing, and if they're hitting their spots. Maybe I want them to throw a curveball, maybe he's throwing it too fast, maybe there's not enough curve on the pitch. Different things like that, to where I can provide feedback and coach him on what he needs to do better. Also, if you buy this ball right here, will have a camera, and it's facing this way for a reason, is because we want it to actually watch the pitcher throw the ball, so that me as a parent or coach, I can actually watch in real time. I can actually watch him release the ball and make sure that his technique is correct and proper on each pitch. And so I'll be able to actually pull up a live feed of him actually pitching the ball, which is a cool feature to have as well. So this is a good coaching tool. Also, what we want to do is have a game feature within this app that this device can actually sync to a pair of cordless headphones, to where they can actually play a simulated game, and we will basically have all this data within this app, to where if they're not hitting their spots, maybe the hitter's gonna get a base hit or hit in the gap. So it's gonna really help kids be competitive, as they can come out and play on their own. They don't have to have a friend to come out and be competitive. Basically virtual reality, where they can come out and they're playing a full game of baseball, and depending on where they locate their pitch, they could be throwing a no-hitter, or they could be getting rocked if they're not hitting their pitches, and it's going to keep score of what the other team's scoring, and then you can actually send that to your friends and play with your friends, and just have a good time, playing, practicing pitching as you're being competitive. And also, parents and coaches can get in and look at your pitches and make sure everything's looking good, and it's going to keep track of your progress as well, this app, so you can constantly see what you're improving on and what you need to get better at, and ultimately just helping young kids become better athletes, better pitchers, to hopefully one day move on to the bigger, more competitive leagues. We can set up this device, to where it's actually calling out your strikes and balls for you. That way, there's no question whether it was or was not a strike or ball. We've also talked about, if we have that setting, making maybe a cage that just kind of sits over the top of them as well, just for extra protection on the device. That's not going to interfere with the detection of the ball. If you have, if you invest in our strike zone, what we'd like to have additionally is a camera, also a radar, basically telling you how fast each pitch is. Now, if you don't have our pad, you're still going to be able to see how fast you're pitching from the app. It'll keep track of speed of the ball, curvature, just different aspects. Also, with the live feed, where we can actually watch the pitcher, we're hoping that we can pick up the spin of the ball. That way, if you're throwing a knuckleball, we want to make sure that there's not much movement or any movement at all on a knuckleball. Just different aspects of this device that will help us ultimately coach our kids from a distance and keep track of their pitches on a day-to-day basis. So, as far as the invention goes, we're excited. Our results came back pretty positive, meaning no one, has really come up with a coaching tool like this. Also, another thing, if we can get away with it, is I'd like to have a wristband that has a sensor in it as well, just to keep track of the motion of the arm, make sure kids are pulling down across their bodies, and just different things like that. If we can get away with it, I do know that that wasn't a part of our original idea, but if it's something that we can incorporate, we'd love to incorporate into our invention, just to keep track of all aspects of each pitch, from the time we throw it to where it crosses and where it ultimately finishes, and making sure that we're hitting spots. This app will also coach kids to hit their spots. So, if your coach wants to say, "Hey, I want you to hit the 11 spot or 12 spot," or not necessarily, does your coach want you to throw a strike every time? You have different zones outside the strike zone that are important in baseball to make sure we're hitting, so that we can have a better strikeout average. So that's it. For our invention, it's a really cool idea. We're excited. We're excited to be working with you guys with this. We look forward to your feedback and help as we go through this process. But our hearts are in this. We're invested in it, and we want your guys' help to help us propel this thing to the top. So.